Tarik Talk. Your host, Tarik Themendous, takes you on a journey with guests from all around the world. Broadcasting around the world. Around the world. This is Tarik Talk.
Alright guys, today I'm here with Malik, a very talented artist. Malik, thank you so much for being here today. How are you?
Yeah, pleasure. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Do you want to drop your Instagram for us so people can check you out?
Just the first and last name, Malik Tricoche, at Instagram, MalikTricoche.
Perfect, thank you for spelling. I was going to actually ask because I got a lot of comments because people like to hear the artist and kind of look at their Instagram and their artwork and be like, oh, I get it. What he's talking
I figured
about.
there would be like a fly-in graphic or something on there. I don't know how crazy the editing gets.
No worries. So do you want to start by telling us a little bit about yourself?
I'm 27 years old, originally from Long Island, New York. I am of Puerto Rican descent. What's up, Boricua? I have a little smidge of Italian in there as well, but I'm not really acquainted with any Italian family of mine. I'm a native New Yorker. I studied in Boston and Boston, Massachusetts at BU. I studied visual arts, painting, and sculpture were my majors. And since then, in 2018, I have been on the Jersey side, working in New York, back and forth, kind of some projects over here, some projects over there. I did one residency in Venice, Italy. So that's a major love of my life.
How was that?
I mean, dream come true. I mean, I studied for 6 months when I was in college, my sophomore year. And since then, I had always dreamed of going back. So, like when I landed that residency, I was like, it was like a homecoming. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God, I can't even imagine like art in Venice. Apologies for my cough, guys.
Oh, no worries. It's such a peaceful city. So like the pace that I was able to actually digest, just living and going back to the studio and having that exchange, it was just much more. I don't know. It had a much better flow for my work than here in New York, because I feel like here it's like always go, got
non-stop.
somewhere to be, some money to make or something like that. So I had a lot figured out for me there. It was a little bit of a slower life.
That was actually going to be my next question. How was your day to day? Like, were you able to like what do you call it in English? Site tour or tour see? Sightsee.
So you know what? I really wasn't in the tourist mindset because I had lived there. And I would wake up and obviously there were things that I needed to see, right? Palaces, freaking churches, museums, so much art that was really accessible at like almost nothing. You would just walk in the street and be exposed to this beautiful architecture, beautiful sculpture. So I would try to get out there and do something day to day. But when I was in the thick of the residency, I would wake up, probably go get a pastry at a local cafe, listen to the seagulls for a bit, come back, open up the front of the gallery, and then paint almost live, invite people in to see what I was doing. And then I had a larger space right next to the area in the walk. So I would paint right in the walkway. People would be able to see what I was doing. But then on the room next to it, which was much larger, I had a lot of work on display.
Wow. That's like the best combo.
Yeah, it was awesome. I haven't experienced something so fluid like that. I mean, we were in the same space for Chashama. That space, it was so big that it kind of like swallowed me up in a way, and I felt like it was like a little bit harder to get people. Like people would walk by and they stick their face in, right? And I'd be like, come,
and they run away.
Yes. So you felt it,
No, definitely. When did you do it? I did it in the winter.
I was in the fall, right before you. I think I started. I think it was like maybe August to beginning of October.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's pretty dope.
You really packed it out.
Yeah. No,
But you do so much. You're like you have the functional living, like your furniture stuff, and like you also do some fashion things too, right?
Yeah, like wearable art, like artsy stationery a little bit. I have ADD, so like
I feel you, bro. Like I literally can't keep my hands in one pot. It's like, but then there's fashion, and then there's writing, and then there's,
It's so funny because a lot of people will walk in and they say, oh, do you have like the press release? And they say, oh, is this not a group show? I'm like, no, it's me. It's one artist. They're like, you did all of this? And they wouldn't believe me. They're like, no, like, let me
all the marketing website. Too. And like, it's not like you had an agent or a curator helping you produce the show. I think that those are one of like the things that stick out as like a really big success in my mind, is because it's like, oh, there was almost nobody else backing it. You like did it on your back.
I remember like I had to learn how to drive like a big U-Haul truck.
Oh my god, that
was so, especially in New York. Oh my god, it was crazy.
Yeah, I definitely got a couple of tickets because of that.
Yeah, me too. And then
worth it.
It definitely worth it. And then going back to your like creative process, because you mentioned you painting and people would walk in.
Oh yeah.
How are you like? How do you enjoy talking to people while you're creating, or do you have to like have like creation process and then kind of like switch your brain to business mode?
I think that it's a very valuable exchange when I'm either in my head trying to figure out something, right? Like I work with a lot of like stream of consciousness. I'll paint almost automatically and then go back and kind of dissect and reprocess like what it was exactly that was coming out of me at that time. So I do an exchange of I'll work, visually or drawing and building up that composition, and then I'll go back and I'll write, and I'll be writing in my sketchbook, oh, this is what I'm observing, or this is what I'm thinking of, like when I'm experiencing this. In the process of like doing it live and then having people come in and say, oh, well, I see this, it kind of opens me up to the idea of like, oh, well, I wasn't thinking of a dragon falling from the sky. It was a rocket, you know, and like that puts me in the mind state of, well, that maybe there's duality there, or like how is my viewer gonna get to experience the finished work?
And are you talking like once the product is finished, or like while you're creating?
I like while I'm creating, I think it's interesting to like, I think when it's an underpainting, right, and I like show a picture to my mom, she'll always have some kind of opinion that is like totally off from what I had been thinking of, and I think that it's an interesting like piece of information in the finished product of my painting or of the work in general, so that I know that, oh, maybe it could be perceived in 1 to 2 or three different ways, rather than just the concrete way of saying I'm coming in and I'm painting a dragon.
And like, what for your creative process, like, are you able to like, do you think of the idea and paint right away, or do you like keep like a notepad or sketches?
So going back to like the writing thing, I have like a typewriter collection. So I like to like sit in the mornings, I like to wake up. Well, now that I'm like in the home studio and in my apartment, I'll wake up and I'll be, at the typewriter kind of writing some things. Maybe there's something on my mind from the day before, or I'd like to work a lot with like dreams and stuff. So I'll
Me
like,
too. That's
really
so crazy.
Yeah, I feel like it's like the unexplainable, why am I getting this transmission in the middle of the night?
Oh my God.
I'm almost like too affected by them sometimes. Like I'll be like, it will really like pain me if like I went through something, but then I have to like sit there and be like, all right, well, it was just a message, like detach yourself and try to dissect. I don't try to look up too much like what people will say online, because I'll get all tragic, it's
me
like,
too. I'll start thinking overthinking. I'm like that too. Since you're Boricua, do you believe like do you do like spiritismo? I don't know how do you say in Spanish. It's like spiritismo.
Syncretismo.
Yeah.
So yes, I am. I have a lot of family that is involved with the Santeria.
Santeria.
So las orillas.
So
I don't know if you have like a saint, but I haven't been through the like the baptism process to receive my saints, the mano of Orula. But my partner, he's Shango.
Oh wow.
His brother Shango, my madrina, not my madrina, my suegra, my mother-in-law.
Oh wow.
She is Oya. I mean not Oya, Oshun, the goddess of the rivers. And his uncle is my partner is a babalao, like the priest, and he's an ex-cop, and I love like the dynamic of him like, being law enforcement, and also very involved with like the spirituality, and especially being an African religion or very Caribbean. I love that religion because I find it to be like, it's very unifying. There are people who believe that European religion or African religion or even indigenous Caribbean religions all have so much putting them against each other. But there's so much similarity there because you have the syncretism of the saint, the Catholic saint with the African god. And one is so much rooted in European tradition, but the other one is also very rooted in like the natural elements of the indigenous folks of the Caribbean. So I think that it's a really beautiful thing. But going back to what my partner's uncle was saying, he was like looking at the caracol at the coconut shells and saying that I have Oya, the goddess of the winds and storms, which is kind of strange because in the Quran, Malik, which is Maalik, is like an angel which guards the threshold of the underworld and the regular world, and like Oya is supposed to be like the guardian of like the cemetery, like the afterlife and like the life here. So there's like some strange,
that's so mysterious,
synchronicities. Blows my mind.
Oh wow! And do you how do you keep track of your dreams? Because you say you transfer those into like paintings. Do you write all the dreams or sketch them?
I try to write them, or like I work a little bit in the iPad. So like I'll go on Procreate and do a little sketch, do a little drawing or whatever. But half of the time they fly away. The good ones become art.
Oh wow, that's so dope. And who's your creative influence? Like who are you inspired by?
I feel like for my work specifically, I feel like I have a direct relationship with a lot of I'm inspired by fashion, I'm inspired by music, and there are some producers that have long been a source of inspiration for me. So I'll just go into the studio and put on a mix and it'll really bring me into that flow state. That'll be Aphex Twin, Arca. I like a lot of experimental electronic music. They're a little bit on the canceled sides now, but Crystal Castles, and Sophie too, R.I.P. She's gone, but she's major PC London artist. In the fashion side, I obviously love Patrick Church. I met him at his show, and I think it was in Bowery or it was downtown last year, in 2023. And he's so kind and really such a humble soul.
That's
we were talking about I do enjoy multimedia art. So artists like Jordan Wolfson who implements the idea of sculpture but also performance at the same time and bringing it back to performance. I think that artists like Alexander McQueen, where his work was so much on the edge of what is fashion, what's sculpture, what's wearable art, or what's not actually wearable, but it alludes to that element of constraint and what is the constraint. Those are the societal constraints of what they're telling us we can wear or what is acceptable.
No, he's a genius. That 2009 Atlantis collection.
Are you kidding?
Do you ever sometimes out of the blue I'll be walking in the street and I'll think of him, different people. I'm I have to look at the image just to
it's just
refresh.
I'll see something very maybe it's avant-garde or grotesque, and it'll just remind me, wow, that savage beauty that that he came up with, or that so many designers and artists have been inspired by. You see the influence over the years. One of my favorite designers now is Luis de Javier, and he's from Barcelona, and he just implements all of these horns and the kind of skeletal structure.
I think I seen he did a shoe with a blade. I think
he has
the guy.
I think it's called the bitch bag, and it has a big spike on it. He's really great.
I gotta check it out. I think I seen his work. And how do ideas come to you? Besides from dreams, is it always when you're sleeping or
no? You know what? There's this weird thing that happens to me where I feel we'll be talking about something, right?
Yeah.
And somehow later in the day or in a day or two, it'll come back the same thing. Say we were talking about pomegranates, and then I'll walk down the street and there'll be an ad, pomegranate juice, something like that, and then it'll happen a third time, maybe on the radio, or there'll be this system of three, right? And then once something is there it is. It's it being thrown into my I don't know, my processing field, my energy field or something. I'm oh, universe is trying to tell me look for this sign, or like go and like look into this maybe. And like I have this like weird like old book called A Dictionary of Symbols, and it like just goes through a bunch of like, I guess, symbolic things that have been used in different cultures symbolically throughout time. And like, it'll like give you a little, say, oh, well, the Greeks thought this about this, and like the ancient Phoenicians thought this about this.
That's so dope. I need to have that book.
So it's like a listening. I'll definitely get you a copy.
I love it. No, I really believe like the universe sends you, so you just have to be like aware.
Yeah, if
conscious.
You're open to it, then I think that it's that like that noticing and then going and doing a little bit of research. And that's how the ideas come to me.
Absolutely. Like,
what about you?
I'm the same way. Like, I remember I was like wanting to quit a project and I wasn't sure. Like, I couldn't get the right materials. Everything was like cracking. It was for sculpture. I remember I was like, I just thought, I'm going to go get a tea or coffee and walk down the street. And I remember right when I got out the door, there was like a huge like delivery truck. And then they put like an advertisement that says, don't quit. And then there was like Nike or whatever. And I was like, but it just like stayed there, you know?
If you like are open to it, there's plenty of messages coming in.
And I was like, oh my gosh. And then like I did pull through it, and it was like the best thing ever. So I really feel like it's there. You just have to be conscious and like have your third eye open, you know? And then, I don't know, it's just, you got to have the energy and the vibe. Sorry, my cough is so annoying. But when like once you're aware and you're conscious, it helps you a lot to...
Yeah, it helps you access that flow state. And I think that, like, I don't know if you ever struggle with inspiration, but I feel like sometimes when you become a career artist, right, and you have to make business of it, it kind of takes a little bit of that, like, that romanticism, that passion sometimes when you're working with a deadline or you have a very specific, maybe you're having a problem with a client or something like that. It kind of makes me think like, well, now this is a job, you know?
Exactly.
And I love that I get to make my passion a job, but I got into this for the love of it. Like, I had been painting since I was 7 years old. And it wasn't like I said, oh, well, I'm going to do that because I'm going to be a rich, famous artist. It's just almost like it became not an option to not do it, you know?
No, I totally get it.
Yeah.
No, I'm the same way, too. It takes away the spontaneous and the creativity and the flow.
And I love waking up and like not expecting to do something, you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't planning on making a giant dog head sculpture, but it happened today.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so dope. And then how do you deal with like a creative block? Like, do you try to push through, or do you try to like meditate? And
I feel like physical work helps a lot. Like relieve like energy blockage, so like exercising, running, getting into nature, hiking. I love the beach. I'm obsessed with the water. Like, can't get me away from the ocean. And then also, I mean, on the more direct side, like traveling is always a huge inspiration. Getting out of my head, out of the city, away from like the familiar, and getting into, you know, another country, another language, always gets me into like the inspirational state. Like I'll be making comparisons between, oh, well, what am I hearing over here in this other place that I've never been? And then it'll somehow bring me to a place back home. And there's that connection point again where we're looking for the third part where it becomes a fully fledged idea. Oh,
wow. And you have like a lot of mediums that I saw on your Instagram. Do you have like a preferred one, or it's kind of like equally like love for everybody?
I feel like oil painting is a long-standing love of my life. Right now, I'm responding best with design. So like I'm doing a lot of like screen printing, digital drawing, and then turning that into designs that'll go on top of garments with like some printmaking techniques. But I feel like what's one of the most like tactile and like physically reward, like when I finish a project in sculpture, it almost like, it's like, I don't know, you gave birth to something. You can like put your arms around it. It's physically in the world.
It's like your child, right?
Yeah. And there's something limiting about like the pictorial plane in painting, right? It's almost like I'm giving you an idea or a window into a world, whereas the sculpture or the installation where we can walk through it and touch it, it creates a fully closed circuit in my brain where it's like, oh, this thing is here, you know? And it's like, it's no longer just an idea. It's like an object in the world. So I think as a hierarchy, I'm going to say like, you know, painting, digital media, and then sculpture.
Yeah.
But just because sculpture, I feel like it's takes up a lot of space.
Yeah.
Super expensive materials. If you're
Yeah.
gonna use nice ones,
Yeah.
I'm here for a trash sculpture.
Yeah.
But in reality, we all would love to use beautiful resins and I've really
Fiberglass.
I've always wanted to use like marble and like stone. I've
Oh,
never done
wow.
any stone
Yeah.
carving.
And you have to go back to Italy.
I know. I'm gonna have to like
Yeah.
find some
That's
nice
so
guy
cool.
with a quarry
Yeah.
to get me a slab or whatever. But like sculptural materials are so expensive. Like, you've been to Union City, right?
Yeah.
There's a huge like factory over there where there's this guy Gio from Themendous, and he does really cool projects.
Wow.
And I was working with him for a few years, so I'm really familiar with like the big like 40-foot like styrofoam and epoxy style.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And what's
Terrible on the body though.
yes. And what's like a project that you wish for the future that you get like a chance to do artistic wise?
I have always dreamed of representing the United States in the Venice Biennale.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, like, sure, they invite me to do
It's
the
like
Whitney.
the
The Whitney, I'm there,
yeah.
But like, it feels like that's the Olympics of like visual arts. Like every country gets their own little booth, and to be chosen by the committee or to even participate in like they have like a residency program too that you could apply to, where you're like stay and then you'll be like junior part of the Biennale, anything like that, because Venice is like a home away from home for me, a dream within a dream.
Would you ever live there in the future?
I mean, I collectively have been there for like a year and a half, in like 6 months spurts. So to go back and to like fully live like as a citizen, oh hell yeah! Are you kidding me?
Oh,
like,
wow.
People say like, "Oh, Venice is so boring." Like my Italian friends are like, "Oh, Venice is so boring." But I think that it's the right amount of like peace and like
balance.
Yeah, for me, like if I want craziness, sure, I'll take the train to Milan or whatever.
Yeah, it's so convenient too. Like traveling in Europe with the trains.
Yeah,
it's so much fun.
It's weird because it's like going back in time.
Yeah,
like no
right.
No cars,
yeah,
just like boats and stuff. But yeah, the Venice Biennale would be something that I would be like, okay, I did that.
And what's an advice that you have for artists that are like struggling with like a creative block that you would like encourage them to do?
Well, I think that a lot of people think that being an artist, you just are blessed with, talent and everything. It came easy to you. And I think that discipline and consistency will take you a lot further than God-given talent and inspiration and spur of the moment inspiration. Say it hasn't really been working out for you for one project. You're working on a portrait and it's just not coming out right. And I would say stop working on that project, pick up something else, whether it's a camera or any other form of medium, and let that inform your first work. Maybe it's time to take a step back, and sometimes as artists we like zoom in super hard and we're focused on a very small detail, like I just can't get that hand right or that nose right or whatever. Okay, well, maybe stop focusing on that, take a step back and find other ways to reactivate that brain connectivity, whether it's taking a moment to write or walking and talking does wonders for me. I don't know why, but like whenever I go on a nice long walk, like longer than 20-30 minutes, I feel like there's something that I'm getting into the success mindset in my brain, like, oh, I'm accomplishing something, even if that is just going on a walk.
That's pretty dope. Wow. you know, like I'm an artist first and like in this podcast a second. So like when a lot of times when I talk to artists, I'm like so like visually picturing exactly what you're saying, and then I forget. I'm like, wait a minute, I gotta have a question. And then did you ever like, because a lot of people like ask me to ask artists this, and I love hearing from different artists. Did you ever create something that you're really stuck on? You couldn't figure out like the next move. You just having kind of like an off day. How do you handle that? Like, are you an artist that you kind of like force yourself to push through, or are you able to like kind of like step away for a little bit and then come back and tackle the project? Because a lot of people tell me to just break it and start over.
Something that I do in my work a lot is for a long time I was working with complexity, right? Like I got the critique from my professors that like I could be a little bit more nuanced. I don't have to like oversaturate. Like maybe sometimes I'll like paint to death, right? So sometimes I'll like paint, and if I'm feeling like it's a little bit stuck, I will turn the canvas 90 degrees or 180 degrees completely upside down and work from it from a completely different direction, or like the opposite direction. And then that gives like this kind of overall like cloud effect where maybe we are looking at the painting in the format that you saw it on the gallery wall, right? You know, right side up. That gives you the option that maybe 6 to 8 months, once you've been looking at it and really digest it, you turn it completely upside down and you get another composition.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So maybe just the direction of the work. But if I'm really hating it, I will generally just leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And would you quit it, or would you be like, no, I'll come back tomorrow and try it again?
I rarely just chuck a painting.
Yeah.
Like I've had paintings in my studio for years that are 25% done because I'll look at them and I'll be like, all right, it's not the time yet. Not the time yet. And it's so weird because sometimes it's like a huge waterfall, a landslide of inspiration.
Yeah.
I'll get something phenomenal done in a super short amount of time, but then other times it's just gotta
takes
cook.
A long time. Yeah.
It's just gotta slow cook. And I think if you don't judge yourself too hard and you allow yourself to actually incubate, you'll get a lot better work.
Yeah, that's the word, incubate. And like, how do you deal, like, actually, like, what's different between when you were younger, like, let's say like 10 years ago with your creative process to now? Like, do you see any changes? Like, are you more patient?
I felt like more patient. 10 years ago, I was just graduating high school, so I feel like I was very underdeveloped as an artist, like knowing what were my strengths and what were my weaknesses. I was like, I think I was dabbling in a lot of like random things, you know. I didn't really know what were my interests. So, what was the question again?
I forgot.
I'm so sorry.
No, because you say some things, I'm like, oh my god, I'm like that too, and then I started like thinking. No, what was the question? Oh my goodness.
You said comparatively, like
no, yeah, sorry. So like comparing yourself to now to like 10 years ago, like a younger Malik, how is your like creative process different?
Yeah, I think 10 years ago there was still a lot of self-discovery, especially in style. I felt like maybe I didn't have the drawing skills and I didn't have the limited palette. So you give me 3-4 things, I'll be able to stylistically or design-wise make an impressive or more complex kind of composition than I would have 10 years ago. The biggest difference is the discipline and the skill building, because now I can go into, say, if it's a client or I have a project or something like that, a commission, and they tell me, all right, well, this is what I want to execute. I can now, with my style and my confidence in my style, lean into whatever idea in a more fluid way. I felt like before it was a lot of guessing. It was a lot of, well, is this going to work out? And once you stop wondering if it's going to look good or if it matters, then that's all the power of being an artist. You know, you're as artists, we like give power to maybe even nonsense, and we say, well, this is important, and look at it, you know. And I don't know any other profession that can, you know, draw from the dark in that way, or absolute nothingness and make something important.
And do you have any rituals, like when you get to the studio, like do you do anything prior to working, or you just get like right to work? Because, you know, some people need like a candle or a coffee, or like read the newspaper, warm up a little bit.
I definitely drink a lot of espresso. Café Bustelo. I do drink like at least 3 to 6 espressos a day. I have my
oh my god, are you serious?
Yeah, I have my DeLonghi at home.
How's your heart?
I apparently have high blood pressure.
Yeah, you should be careful.
So I'm gonna. Really
do your hands ever shake?
Pretty good.
How many coffees have you had so far today?
Just the one.
Just the one? Oh.
Yeah.
I used to do like 3 and 4.
Anxious.
Oh, I used like.
Well, it was a double.
Oh, it was a double. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
but there's nothing like that crisp espresso right in the morning that hits you.
Yeah,
It's
it
like,
really like gets me going or whatever. I practice yoga. Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yoga has been a big part of my life. I think since I took a few like courses in college, and like that's when my practice really got serious. 18 years old, I got the chakras in my arm. It felt like it was something that really grounded me. I struggle with anxiety sometimes, and like it like gets me out of that like hypermanic state where I'm like either worried or doubtful or whatever. It gets me into I'm in my body. I have all of the tools and the power that I need to actually accomplish what I want, and it puts me back into that like potential state.
Oh wow! Can I? Don't tell me because I want to guess. What's your sign? I'm guessing either Leo or Scorpio. Is that true?
No.
No.
All right, I'll give you one more guess.
June.
Close, though. I mean, I'm a summer baby. Yeah.
So Gemini.
Yeah.
June is Gemini, right? Yeah. Oh,
what about you?
Scorpio.
Yeah. My sister's a Scorpio.
Yeah.
I usually get along great with Scorpios.
My sister's a Scorpio too. When's your sister's birthday?
Wait, my sister's November 20th.
Oh, mine.
yours?
Oh, she almost missed the Scorpio deadline. Mine is
Wait, when's your birthday?
No. My birth. Did you say no? Sorry, I thought you meant your sister's birthday in June. No, my birthday is the 15th. November. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. When's your birthday in June?
Wait, 15th? Oh no, yeah, you're Scorpio.
Yeah.
A few more days you would have been Sagittarius.
Yeah. After.
My sister's November 20th, but I'm June 19th.
Oh, okay. My sister's the 4th. November 21st, I think, is the last day for Scorpios.
Yes.
So it's like, it's so funny. A lot of people that are like born on the 21st, it's like they're so Scorpio. Like if you're born in October, you're kind of more chill. But I feel like people born like in November, Scorpios, we're Scorpios. Yeah. But I feel like 21st, like Scorpio babies are more intense.
No, my sister is definitely an intense character, but like for how young she is, she's such she has such an amazing like business head on her shoulders. Like she's an esthetician.
Are you the older?
I'm the older sibling, yeah.
Oh, wow.
But I'm just so proud of her because like being an older sibling, like you want to see your younger, your baby sister, your baby brother like do well, and like there's never ever like a doubt in my mind about this woman because she like has her own boutique in Long Island, so she like has a couple of rooms where she rents out to other girls who do lashes and like tooth gems and stuff. But then she has like some of our like my collection and a couple of my friends like clothing collections there.
Oh, that's it. So it's just you and your sister?
Me, my sister, and then there's 2 other designers featured there.
No, like I mean, like brothers and sisters.
Yeah. So she's my only like sister, but I actually grew up in a house of like 6 kids. So my father is a twin, so him and his twin brother bought a house, and then all of us kids grew up together. So
that's so awesome.
I was the oldest of like a little tribe of 6.
No way.
Yeah.
And what's like the age difference between you and your sister?
Me and my sister are 3 years apart.
Oh wow.
And then, but my closest cousin, we're actually born like June and July, so it's like I had a sister, almost like a twin.
That's so cool.
Growing up with me, going into all of the grades together.
Yeah. And you said you grew up in New York, right?
Yeah, I grew up in Long Island.
Long Island. And do you find like any like in your work sometimes subconsciously like pieces of New York in your work?
I write about New York a lot. Sometimes like I will like physically draw buildings and stuff like that into New York. I don't think that I work like with like the tropes of New York. Like I think that maybe that's like a kind of like pop aesthetic that I haven't like. For example, I'm a big fan of calligraphy and graffiti. So like I think maybe that's the most like recognizable New York element that you could see in my work. But besides that, I'm not. I don't think that I like have any like symbolism directly related to it in like the paintings. I'm working on a painting right now about nightlife, so I'm like a big fan of like going out and going to shows and stuff. And I find that to be a very spiritual experience as well, like going out and like just being with friends, dancing and kind of like losing a little bit of control. Like that's like that is like a cleansing moment for me. Like just
it's like a rebirth kind of.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a ritual, and I do write about that, and I'm painting currently about like this like dance floor, like like in the Renaissance paintings where it's like kind of a lot going on, people, angels, all types of things, everything, grabbing at each other, like saints. It looks like that, but it's kind of like saints on the dance floor, people like voguing, lights, drag queens, all types of things like going on all at once.
That's so cool. And do you have like a preference for like painting or doing anything artistic? Do you prefer the night or the daytime?
Oh, well, daytime for for color. If I'm gonna be painting in oil, I want to be with sunlight. I need that natural light. But I will stay up late drawing. Like I love like working on the wall with like charcoals or in the sketchbook and stuff. Like I do like I'm kind of a night owl.
Oh, that's so cool.
What about you? You like to stay up late?
I like to stay up late. Yeah. Like it's just like there, because it's like traveling. Like when I'm in the plane, I love drawing because I know there's nobody gonna call me, nobody's gonna ask me anything.
Do you work digitally or just in a sketchbook?
Mostly like physically, but if I like write ideas, it's always like digital. Like if it's something really good and complex that I don't want it to leave me, like sometimes I'll get something and I'm like, well, I have to like visually write this down because I know it will like go to somebody. You feel like it comes and then it will go.
It's kind of so weird that you just like when you say it like that, like when something just comes to you, it's so weird that like you could, I don't know, when you say that, like I see it like that happens exactly to me too. Like why do we like, I don't know, maybe it's like a little radio station that our brains
I feel
are
like it's like an artistic iCloud or something. You know?
Artistic iCloud.
Did you ever
something
like
in the ether,
Yeah, did you ever like get a good idea, but then you're like, this is kind of lame, and then like not even like 2 months later you see the exact thing with somebody you never talked to or like engaged with, and they did it.
Yeah, that's
I think that's the craziest thing. Yeah, it's like what.
Speaking of that, it's like do you think that in this age of social media that maybe there are certain things that are just kind of non-mutually exclusive, or like there's no like no real like vacuum of I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say like, can anything really exist like as an island? Like can an idea exist as an island? Because like all of the information is almost out there all the time. Like say maybe you were working in your studio and you like did like studio day, and then like your half finished project was saw by somebody out there, and then they took inspiration from that. Like, do you think that things can exist on their own, or is it like always connected to the artist iCloud?
I don't know. I feel like, no, that I understand, but like a lot of times when that happens to me, like I never see it on Instagram. I see it like by accident in person. Whether like I'm running late in a taxi and I get out to walk fast and I like see something in the lobby and I'm like, what? You know what I mean? But no, I totally get it. Like if somebody sees what you're working on, I understand. But like I'm talking like when it's just a new idea and only and you haven't spoken out loud. You know what I mean? You have like manifested it, and then you see it.
It's even worse if it was just an idea that you didn't get to execute, because it's like
that's worse. Yeah, at least like when you choose not to do it out of laziness or because you think, maybe it won't be good executed well. Then it's different than versus like as you said. That's pretty cool. Wow. And then like actually I had a Puerto Rican friend teach me. Do you do the egg trick?
Oh yeah. Pasar el huevo por todo el cuerpo. Yeah, that's how you like take away a little bit of bad energy. Yeah. Like you pass the egg all over your body. I don't know where your friend gets rid of it. Some people they get rid of it either in the four corners around their house, or like my suegra says to like flush it so that it's like going to the ocean. Yeah.
Oh wow! I was actually gonna ask how to get rid of it, because in Brazil people just they say to throw it in the soil, like in your garden. But like my Puerto Rican friends tell me, like I had a Puerto Rican friend tell me, she said you're supposed to throw it, crack it, and never look back at it. But because I don't have like a garden, I just throw it in the trash and then I close the lid. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh no, I crack it, throw it in the toilet, and flush it.
I never thought about that.
You never want the yolk to touch you.
It's so funny how people have like different things.
I think of it because it's like it's going to the ocean or like going out into the water or whatever. Yeah. But it's I think that it's so cool that like different Latin American cultures,
like the same thing but different outcomes in the end.
Oh my gosh, is it so? Does your family practice as well as syncretism?
Some of them do. Like some of them like.
What do you guys call it? Palomonte or no? Macumba.
Well, no, because Macumba is kind of like voodoo, like the bad energy.
Yes.
Where you do offerings for like
we have like the La Mágica Blanca and La Mágica Negra.
Exactly. So like Macumba to us, it's like when,
La Mágica Negra.
it's when you get desperate and you do like offerings to bad energy, like entities. But then like Spiritismo, it's kind of like the white light one.
Yes, it's the
so
one
you do
with
like
the
offering.
saints.
Yeah, you get like you put flowers in the ocean, or
oh my God, Rio,
especially in the New Year's, everybody
so
does that.
Beautiful, are you kidding me? And then people are.
How
like,
was that for you?
7 waves.
Yeah.
You know what? I dream of living in Brazil at one point in my life because I feel like there's like this like connectedness between people and nature, and it's just so beautiful. People take for granted that we've lost that connection to nature here, and when you go there and you get to experience esa beleza, it's just another level that I haven't unlocked or felt here in America. I've been to beautiful places in America, right? I've been to Wyoming, I've been to the national parks and stuff, and we don't have that gorgeousness, that closeness to nature right here in the city. But I walk out of my apartment in Rio, and there's huge like the SVA trees and like
those like big
the orchids and like the freaking birds and monkeys are right there. Like we don't get that closeness. Whoever planned Rio really cared about the quality of life of the people in the future. And it's great to see that upkeep over the years, especially being American and noticing that we've lost that. So that Brazil is on my list to live for at least a year.
Sometimes like I get so stressed from New York City and I'm like I have to move back to Brazil. Away. But then when I go back to Brazil, it's like everything's so calm and too slow for me.
What's crazy about living in New York City is it will always call to you. Like once you've been here and you've become a New Yorker, no matter where I go, if I'm staying there, there's something that New York stays in me, and I'll always miss it. And when I come here, it feels like home.
For everybody, it's like different to get that vibe for other places. I've noticed
there's something magic here. I mean, like it's a kind of like intense magic, or like I don't know. It's a strange place, but
like as you said previously, like going like when I grew up in Brazil and then moved here when I was a kid, something we're taught in school that we weren't taught here, like talking about connections to nature, is like we were taught to, when you go into nature, you say, "Oh, excuse me, I'm entering your house," to whatever sane or energy you believe in, and like here people don't,
people don't have the appreciation.
And there's no connection. It's
in
just
the islands. People before, we have something called pastel, right? So like you make patele we make them on Christmas time. You take like the green banana, the other root vegetables like yuca and malanga, right? You grind them up and you make like, do you know what a tamal is? So it's a Puerto Rican tamal, right? But before you cut the banana leaf, you say thank you to the leaf, and then you cut the leaf, and you offer gratitude for what the plant is offering to you, and those are indigenous and like Taíno traditions that we've lost. And I think 100%. That the Native Americans here in the continental United States, they had that appreciation and the closeness to nature. And
I'm actually wearing a Native American bracelet right now. Yeah, for the vibes.
I went one time to the reservation and I stayed, and we stayed in a little teepee, and I had never seen more stars in my whole life. Like so gorgeous.
Yeah, that's so crazy that you say that, because I was abroad last month and I saw stars and I was thinking like, because all those damn buildings and all this light, like
you don't notice how little stars
if
we
people
have.
If people like don't leave where the city they're in, like you don't even know this exists. You know what I mean?
People I went to high school with who have never left New York, and I'm like, you guys have never seen real stars. I mean, you could go to Jones Beach or Robert Moses Beach in the middle of the summer, and like maybe isn't there like an eclipse today?
Oh wait, no, I cannot miss it. No, it's 8. It's on the 8.
Isn't that today?
No. Oh my gosh, please don't say that, because I have my offers to do. No way.
No, my mom told me that it was either today or tomorrow.
I know there's 7 throughout the year, but I know the big main one is on the 8th at 2:39
so
to 3:10.
Maybe I'm wrong, but we're getting. I got totally distracted by the idea of like
that's
stars.
So crazy.
And stuff. Yeah, we can't miss that.
What do you plan on doing during the eclipse for yourself?
I'm gonna try not to look into it too long.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to go blind. Obviously, that's what you're not supposed to look directly into it.
I know they're giving like little 3D goggles, like
I haven't gotten any
or something like
yet,
that.
but definitely gonna observe it. Definitely gonna do a little bit of brujeria.
Me too.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah.
So-
I'm gonna be like meditating while it's happening.
Absolutely, I'm gonna be getting all of my crystals out. I'm
Oh
gonna
my
be
God, yeah.
charging. I am gonna be setting some intentions. I am definitely gonna be parting with some negativity.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be,
100%. I
like,
don't know. I feel like so many people are saying like this is gonna be monumental.
you know what?
These
Do
eclipse.
you feel like a positive shift in the energy these days?
Listen.
Because for a long time I was very pessimistic. There was just so much war going on, and I'm a very empathetic person.
Yeah.
I feel like there's been a lot of pain.
Yeah.
You know? And even walking around the city in the winter, it's a lot of pain.
Yeah.
You see people are going through it with the fentanyl epidemic.
Yeah.
And like there's a lot of people on the street, young folks,
Yeah.
and that really hurts me. But I feel like there's a very hopeful, positive shift.
Yeah.
I'm making a lot of like great connections
Yeah.
with like some fabulous
Yeah.
artists, and this is a testament to that. So I feel like we've been talking about this for a while, and it's a
Yeah.
long time coming. So it also puts me in that mindset of like things are falling into
Yeah.
place, you know.
I feel like worldwide people are like gaining like a conscious awareness that I feel like people haven't had before. Like even people that don't believe in certain things, or they're not
But you
like
mean awareness of what specifically?
spirituality. I think.
Okay,
You know,
yes.
like
there's a wokeness happening.
exactly. Even like people that have like no empathy or sympathy towards other, I feel like they're not like shutting down certain thoughts, or they're questioning like,
Okay.
hey, is this like do people think like this? Like a lot of friends of mine that are just like they worship money, you know, like when I try to talk to them about certain things, like, yeah, this sounds like witchcraft, it's not real, blah blah. Now they're like, do you think I should take a class? Like, should I do like a Heiki thing? Like,
Yeah.
should I do a meditate? You know what I mean? I feel like slowly,
Yes.
it's like people are getting it.
You know, I think for a while people were very off put to the idea of like spirituality or organized religious ideas, right?
Yeah.
And me, even when I was younger, I was very like agnostic atheist because I had grown up in such a strong religious dynamic. Like
Yeah.
my grandfather, who came from Puerto Rico, was a pastor, right?
Oh, wow.
So my father always grew up being in the church, and he left the church when he was 16 to join the Nation of Islam, which is an Islamic sect.
Oh, wow.
And so he raised us almost completely Muslim, you know?
Yeah.
And for me, that always was an isolating thing growing up in a very Christian nation, you know?
Yeah.
We didn't celebrate Christmas. We didn't celebrate Halloween. And like that was like very
wow.
American,
Yeah.
right? So we were always like the others.
Yeah.
And that made me think for myself when it came to a lot of spirituality, because it wasn't that I was opposed to any Muslim ideals, but and I've always been inspired by it, but I didn't always identify with some of the exclusivity when it comes to like maybe women's rights and this goes for Christianity, Catholicism.
Yeah.
Most organized religions tend to limit the independence of maybe women or the involvement of queer peoples.
Yeah.
And I felt like that was something that made me opposed to it. And because there was a certain level of like bias or prejudice when it came to those religions, maybe that's why for a while people were so opposed to say, oh, well, you know, I believe in God, or because there was such a system of exclusion, you know, related to it for a while. But now I feel like as a society, we're finding spirituality in a way that can connect to multiple different religions, right? And it's much more about the individual experience, whether that's through body work, breath work, Reiki, meditation, yoga, all of these things. I think that it has a lot to do with the individual. And then whether you're doing it on your own or you're doing it in a class setting, there's like that communion, whether it's just with the communion of the energy around you by, you know, taking a moment to really take inventory of your breathing and be in your body. That when you take those steps to be more present, it translates when you go out into the world, right?
Oh, absolutely.
You're able to connect with people.
Yeah. Do you ever
And
are you ever
awareness.
in public and like you feel people's energy and it's just like, it feels like sometimes it feels like prickle, like what do you call it in English, the little cactus things, prickles? Yeah?
Prickly, yeah.
Or like it feels like very chill.
Absolutely. I feel like maybe sometimes I get a little bit overwhelmed even when it's been a long day or I've been out and about and I think of myself as someone who likes to be generous with my energy, right? Yeah. So I'll easily get depleted, or I'll feel like, oh wow, like there was a lot that was affecting me throughout the day, and I'll be like, okay, I think that's enough for me. I gotta go run back to my little hidey hole, my studio,
and like re-energize and reset your energy.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then like, do you? Going back to like your dreams and stuff, do you have like a sketchbook of all your dreams? Like, do you keep your sketches like in the archive, or do you draw it, use it for painting, you throw it out?
No, I definitely keep
it.
I keep a few books. I have like a little like shelf on my in my bookshelf or whatever, which is just my sketchbooks. But recently, I have been using the iPad a lot because it's just environmentally friendly, less heavy or whatever. I can just fit a lot of info in there without having to lug around books. Although I do prefer the paper and pen technique, like holding my sketchbook, the smell of the paper, it's nice. Like moleskins.
And did you ever like go through something and then like you paint it or draw it, and then like days later, months, weeks later, you like look and you're like, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense with what I was going through, but I didn't like realize what was happening?
Oh, so weird. So for like a long time, I didn't know why I was so obsessed with like the pomegranate fruit or whatever. So it's like a recurring theme for me. And then, but for some reason, it was just like I had been looking into the lore.
Doesn't it mean rebirth? I don't know, in some cultures.
It's rebirth, and also the unification of many parts. So the Greeks saw it as like a symbol for the universe, many galaxies, many planets within one world, and that's why the pomegranate has all of these seeds. I think that it's also a symbol for society, for people, right? We like to view ourselves as individual fruits, but we're really part of this, like
the tree.
This megacosm that is like all interconnected and part of a whole. Maybe our experiences are individual, but I think that they're mirrored in a way. Like say we experience maybe the same life but from different perspectives. So when I had first started drawing attention to this fruit, I said, okay, I'm going to make my own ritual, right? I'm going to have 20 friends come to my backyard, and we're all going to write our intentions onto a pyre, right? So I collected a bunch of wood, and I made like this like bundle of sticks, and I put a pomegranate in it, and I had written that I wanted to end up in Venice, and I wanted to like be painting there again. And
was this before the residency?
This was before the residency. Way. So this was before I got there, and it was right when the pandemic had hit. So I had no idea how I was going to get there or how it was going to work. But so my first few days in Venice, I had been to these areas plenty of times, and I'd never seen a pomegranate tree in real life. Oh wow. And my first few days, I'm sitting there all alone, right? I'm writing in my sketchbook, and like I'm like looking up and there's a pomegranate tree above my head, and it was like this overwhelming like sensation of like, you're here, you're exactly where you need to be, you know? And like it's just about trusting yourself.
That's
and
crazy.
It like kind of like brings tears to my eyes or whatever.
What if that was like some of your family members? Like, you know what I mean? Like, who knows?
You know what? When I get these like weird, like synchronetic, energetic feelings as well, I do feel like sometimes it can be connected to ancestors. Yeah. And I have been told by like the babalao or like the shamans that like I do have certain like angels or like, and maybe my ancestors are protecting me. And I never knew any of my grandfathers, right? Yeah. And my father's father was the only like artist in our family. Oh, wow. So he left behind a couple of like really impressive paintings that when I was a child, my dad had them hung up in his room, and I would always like go and look at them and like be completely enamored with it and be like, oh, I want to do that, you know. And it's so strange that sometimes like I feel this certain like closeness or like presence with him.
Oh wow.
So like shout out to you, Grandpa Eddie.
Oh, that's so cool. You know Maya Angelou, right, the poet?
Huh, Maya Angelou?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, my favorite quote is that she says,
people doing the memes of her voice.
oh my god, those TikToks are so funny.
They're so good.
But my favorite quote she says like when you're scared or nervous or you need like good vibes to like enter a room for a meeting or just day to day. Did you ever hear the 10,000 quote that she said?
No, tell me.
She says, always say it out loud that before you have to go somewhere, you say, I come as one, but I stand as 10,000.
Oh, wow.
And 10,000 means like the ancestors. You know, your ancestors, people that never got to like do what you're about to do or the chances that you get to do, but they dreamed of. So she says, you know,
I
so
come as one, but I stand as 10,000.
Isn't that like you get goosebumps when you hear it because it's so profound.
I mean, like, it's kind of hard for us to, I mean, in Western civilization, I feel like we do have a disconnected sensation we have a disconnected sense of like our lives and our ancestors, because I think that maybe in Asian cultures they have, or Asian and African cultures, they have more of a reverence for older generations and for the ancestors, because there is a lot of ancestor worship, especially in Orisha. Like, you know, we have the what is it, there's the altar for the saints, for the Orishas, and then there's also the altars for los muertos. For our dead ancestors. And in the house we have, you know, a picture of our grandparents, and we put a cup of water next to it so that it elevates the spirit, so that we have them present, but they don't feed off of our own energy. They have their own spaces, and usually there's an offering with some candles or like some of their favorite things, like sweets or tobacco.
That's so crazy. When I was younger, I used to have like these crazy dreams, and it was like things that happened in my family before I was even born that I didn't know.
Oh my god.
But I remember one time, it was like right after I moved to America, I had a dream, and I called my grandma, and I said, oh, I had a dream with her sister that she like went to her house, but she says, oh, I can't stay, I have to go. And then I remember she started crying. My mom didn't tell me because we just moved here. She wanted us like to be happy. But my aunt just died, her sister, and that was like my most favorite aunt. Oh. But then I remember telling her, I was like, it was very weird. She said she was in a rush. She couldn't stay for coffee. She had to go. She's like, I have to go. And I started crying.
So in the dream, she's telling you that she has to go.
I was at my grandma's house, and then my grandma opened like her door, but then her sister told her, oh, I have to go. And I was like behind my grandma saying, no, stay, like stay for coffee. She's like, no, I have to. But she was like such in a rush, and that wasn't her. And then I remember my grandma told me, and then I started crying. She's like, oh, your mom didn't tell you yet? She was like, no. Because I think we just came, you know what I mean? Like she wanted to at least like
settle in. How old were you when you came
Probably
here?
like 9.5.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
you're just a baby.
But like sometimes I have like these crazy dreams.
Do you still feel that super sensitivity to the other side? Because I feel like when I was a kid, I was way more sensitive. You know, and as I've gotten older, I don't know whether it's just maybe life or the pineal gland becoming calcified
with all the fluoride,
as we get older, but I do feel less sensitive to
I think like you have to work. I feel like as a kid you're more sensitive.
It's automatic.
But like as an elder person,
you just came from there when you were a kid. You just came really from the other side.
Yeah, you have to meditate. You have to like, I don't know, like cleanse yourself.
Yes.
You know, do a lot to be able to just maintain like a good vibe and energy, and then I feel then you're more receptive to those.
It's kind of crazy that we have to find a lot of that energetic work or that healing as adults, because we're not really taught to like take those things into account. I mean, at least in the American school, you know, we didn't really talk about mental. I mean, it's a conversation now, and that's really cool. That I have seen that mental health and like emotional wellness is something that they even consider in the schools these days. But when I was a kid,
no, like
10 years ago, 15 years ago,
like I'm depressed. It's like, well, did you do your chores?
Stop being a little
you're
baby.
Lazy, because you don't have enough to do. That's why
I'll give you something to cry about.
Exactly. Now it's like it's so profound. Like seeing like this new generation, even like my little cousins, you know. where like we'll be like playing video games and they're like, oh, I need a little me time. I need to regroup myself. And this is like a 6-year-old. I'm like, what?
It's just like, me time?
You sound like a 30-year-old. Like, that's so crazy.
I was breaking rocks.
Exactly.
Like in the backyard.
Like I was like throwing mud around. Like,
Yep.
you know, that's so crazy how this generation changes. But do you have anything coming up in the moment right now that you're working on?
I'm actually not focused on making like a painting collection or a collection of sculptures. I've been working on some murals, so I'm collaborating with a boutique and
nice.
a boutique hotel in Cuba. So I'm working on these like custom floors and relief works. So some like reliefs in like concrete and plaster, and then I'm doing like custom painted and epoxy floors for the rooms. So it's
cool.
like a lot of like on the hands and knees kind of like hard body work, but the results so far have been pretty impressive, especially for my first major mural project. So I'm really happy with that. Also on the writing side, I am compiling my very first chapbook, a collection of poems. It's going to be 17 poems and a love letter. And it'll be like kind of like small little zine format. Not zine, it'll be printed much nicer than zine, but it's going to be like poetry, a little bit of Spanglish. So
that's so cool.
Shout out to my Latinos, my Latinas. And so it's going to be mostly English, but there's a little sprinkle of Spanish in there, and then going to be some digital drawings. So
that's dope.
Poem, drawing. It's going to be a cute little art book.
That's pretty dope.
That's my major projects right now.
And do you want to share with us your Instagram again and then spell it?
Yes.
And website too?
So Instagram and website are the same. It's just Malik Tricoche. MalikTricoche.com. Malik Tricoche for my non accent folks. So that would be MalikTricoche.com.
Perfect. Yeah. And if people like they like your work, they want to reach out to you for commissions. Are you open to commissions?
Absolutely. I'm definitely open to commissions, whether that is like custom clothing. I do like some design stuff. I'll have people hit me up for jackets or pants. I like to paint on denim or leather, but I also am open to any kind of like painting commission.
Yeah, that's pretty dope. Well, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming here.
Yeah, thank you so much, man.
Of course, it's been a pleasure. And then make sure to check out his Instagram, and then for all the cool work and everything.
Yeah, thank you so much, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Tarik Talk. Follow Tarik Talk on all social media channels and check out the video interviews online.